It is May the 7th,
Yes.
2019, and the County Council meeting tonight ran after 8 o'clock.
Yes, ran after 8 o'clock, the first county council meeting of the month, and we started at 6 o'clock tonight because we had a couple of groups that we wanted to honor for outstanding achievement. And the first group was Anderson 1 and 2 Career Center, and it was their radio team who had won an award for the second year in a row. Quality young individuals doing some really cool stuff out there. It's a nice facility that Miss Harrell runs, and I expect to see them back next year. They do a great job. After that, we had in council chambers a complete football team along with cheerleaders and coaches as we honored the Anderson Cavaliers. And you talk about something that it's faith-based. They have mentors. It's individuals who are volunteering in our community, just wanting to give a positive outlet of sports to young folks. They've extended this not only with football, but also, I believe, with soccer. They're going to do some competitive dance. They have basketball on the way. But these guys went, I believe, 14-0 in their Pioneer League last year in 2018, and just doing a fantastic job. We ended with a proclamation for Peace Officers Week, and this is something that I think we all can take for granted, that 24/7 we have peace officers out there who are protecting us, and we're on our way back and forth to work. You know, we're going to school, we're hanging out with family, but there's somebody doing a shift somewhere, and anytime they pull somebody over, that can be scary, that can be dangerous, and we wanted to appreciate those guys and those ladies and let them know how much they mean to us. With that, we went into our regular scheduled council meeting at 6:30, and we went with citizens' comments, and we do that every week. We let citizens talk about any of the agenda items. So ahead of time, we publish the agenda. You can always get a copy before the county council meeting, and then you can speak on those agenda items before we start the meeting. From there, we went to a presentation where the Clemson Kennel Club donated $1,000 to a local FFA chapter, Future Farmers of America. And so that was a wonderful thing where an organization locally was giving back. And then we went into our usual second, third, and first reading on different ordinances. And like always, we have to go through 3 readings, and so ordinances move along within those 3 readings over separate meetings. A couple that happened tonight, and it's a good thing, it doesn't happen often, but we do it periodically, is different towns or municipalities need help in certain areas. Maybe it's another van, another truck, or another car to offer service in that area. So many of the time we have vehicles like this that we're going to dispose of on the county level. We're going to go sell them at auction, but we're not going to get very much money for them because they're old and they've been run down.
Well, it costs a lot of money to do all that.
Yeah, it costs money and time to do that. And so we're always balancing, maintenance and all the scheduled items. And what we found is a lot of our towns, municipalities can use those vehicles. And so they're in the county. They're paying county taxes. They have county representation. So anytime that we can build goodwill, partner with those communities, and help them, we will. And we did that with a series of items for some equipment that could help in Belton for fields, some vehicles in the West Pelzer area. And so that's something we'll continue to do, and I think it's cost effective and it builds goodwill. From there, we did a couple of things with economic development, and it's the procedural matter that we do very often. It's a joint county park with Greenville that allows us by statute to offer incentives. We also approved a location at the old TTI site on 28 Bypass. Through a grant with Duke Energy and a partnership with Tri-County Tech, we're actually going to be able to have a Lineman School there. And these are folks who can go to school and quickly learn the trade and the craft to go work for Duke Power and be a lineman. And so that's a positive thing. I think that's a good thing to point out, where our local college, our county, industry is working together to help folks get gainfully employed.
And Duke worked with all the others too, because apparently there's a real shortage of linemen right now to get they're ready to go to work immediately almost.
And I think it's something like we see, even nationally with like pilots. You have an industry where, you have had people been linemen for a long time, and, they're getting to retirement age. And so we need young men and women to step in and be trained and fill those positions. So I think this is going to be a win-win all the way around. From there, Lieutenant Baker, he's with the Sheriff's Department. He does our emergency management. We talked about 2 grant programs, and they're always very proactive and looking for grants to add enhanced services. Typically, a grant will ask for like a 10% match. In the county, if it's a good grant, it's a good service, it's something that we need, it's a win-win all the way around. We donated a Smartboard to the alternative school. So many times we had items in storage that we know local entities can use, and it just goes back to the sharing of services and working together. From there, we went to a recap of the Planning and Public Works meeting, and that happened a couple of weeks ago on April 18th. And we talked about a good number of things. We talked about zoning standards in residential areas and how that affects commercial equipment. We continued some discussion on zoning advisory groups. When we put those groups together a number of years ago, we needed a more comprehensive structure because zoning was new in certain areas. But over time, as zoning became more normalized in these areas, and there were very fewer occurrences when it needed to be addressed. So we needed to reorganize those groups so that they could respond effectively, but not be overburdened by meetings that didn't need to happen. We also talked about a satellite fueling station in the Powdersville area, which is a positive thing because we have such a growing population out there. We want for them to be represented with the Sheriff's Department and for the Sheriff's guys to be able to refuel out there and keep on patrol. We actually ran the numbers. My first inclination was, well, why can't they go to QT? Well, we ran the numbers, and by having our own fueling station, we could keep them on patrol in the area, and we could actually save money. And so that worked out very well. From there, we went on to a shop committee meeting report, and that's where we have so many cars, trucks, skid steers, tractors. There's so much equipment that goes on in the county. Well, they're getting used every day, and we're getting as much use out of them as possible. And quite honestly, we have a lot of old equipment because we're not very anxious to go purchase new when we can get as much value out of it as we can. But with that comes maintenance and service. And so at the new facility out at TTI on 28 Bypass, we're going to have a parts facility, and we want to run that efficiently, and we want to be able to fix items and take care of it in-house in the right way. From there, we went on to a public safety committee meeting update. We had talked about drones. We had actually gotten a brief from the FAA on the state level, and there's so much to know about that. There's federal law, there's state law. We want to make sure that people are operating them safely. We want to make sure that people are doing the right thing with them, and that we respond accordingly. We talked about a forensics lab grant and being able to test drugs when they come into the Sheriff's Department so that people are fairly and adequately prosecuted. From there, we also talked about a detention center update, and they do that every year. They come and they let us know what's going on at the detention center. They let us know from a statistical matter, like how many folks are in there, what's the trends, and it's a good report that helps us keep up to date with what's going on there. This is a key thing. So many people go to jail and they have, admittedly so, something going on from a mental health standpoint, and we want to make sure obviously that nobody's soft on crime. We want to make sure that we protect the public and we do the right thing. But in the instances that some of these people have mental health issues where they can be addressed and that ultimately they can re-enter society and be helped in a positive way so that we can cut down on the recidivism of folks coming back, then that allows us to lower the totals of folks staying at the jail. It saves taxpayer money, and it helps people be part of society. So mental health is an issue that it seems to span through so many different things. It's not always adequately addressed, but in the justice system or the criminal justice system, being able to address that effectively at the jail is very important. From there, we took some roads into inventory. Most of the time, we make sure that these roads meet county specs, and this is done periodically as a subdivision is being finished or a new road. And then we went into we ended with the normal request by council, where we supported different things from the Cancer Association, Parks and Rec, Safe Harbor. Different council members helped the Jets Track Club and the Human Relations Council. And then, as always, we ended with comments from the citizens. So you get to start the meeting, and any citizen can comment on any item on the agenda. And then at the end of the meeting, any citizen can comment on what was discussed throughout the meeting. So we try to have it in an interactive format that we can keep structured, and we can make sure that we click through all the items, but that it is a county council meeting that's for the community, and it's built for their input. So we ended with some comments from council members. People just spoke about a lot of positive things going on in their district, and we're going to have a separate budget workshop meeting. We're going to start going line by line. We're going to have another budget meeting. We'll probably vote on the first round of the budget, and like I referenced before with the 3 ordinances, we got to vote on the budget 3 times. So it's going to be a busy month to get our budget in place so that we can start our new fiscal year July 1. But the county council members are working together. They're meeting during the day. They're meeting with staff, and they're listening to the public. And I think we'll get through it, and it'll be a positive thing.
And it's an important time for people who are interested in what's going on in the county and how the money's being spent to come and take part in these meetings.
Yes, you can come and say, well, I'm interested in how money's being spent as a whole. I'm interested in how money's being spent, let's say, at the Sheriff's Department or at the Parks and Recs Department or the Solid Waste Department. So if you have a particular issue, please engage. If you want to know more from a broad perspective, please engage. That's what we're here for. That's what we do, and we welcome it at every juncture.